Hey everybody, Sean O'Connor here from Macabre Daily, and I head up the Paper Cuts horror literature book review column. I really need to workshop this. Maybe I'll just call it Paper Cuts. I'm gonna call it Paper Cuts. Paper Cuts. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. I get to talk to Adam Wakefield, who not only is an incredible author, he is also a newfound friend. Isn't that wonderful later on in life when you make friends? You know, it's like, you like dinosaurs? I like dinosaurs. You like horror? I like horror. Oh my God, are we best friends? I really don't know how I met Adam. It might be like a Beetlejuice situation. I may have said his name 3 times, and there he was. But no regrets, because he is such an incredible person, matched only by how great he is at writing words and putting them between covers. You're going to really enjoy this conversation that I had with Adam. We kind of go all over the place, you know, which is the best kind of conversation. I will warn you, though. I hold up the cover of his novel, The Usher, and his new novella, The Elephant in the Room, at least 400 times during this interview. So if for any reason you're playing a drinking game where every time I hold up the cover of the author's book, you take a shot, don't do that. You will die with this interview. We will talk about Adam's love of horror and how the story for The Elephant in the Room came about. We're going to get into our excitement for StokerCon next year. We're going to talk about all sorts of great stuff, movies, books, his next project, things that are on the horizon. So please sit back. I always love talking and listening to Adam Wakefield, and I know you will too. Enjoy. Hey everybody, Sean here with a 5th grade haircut, and I am here for Macabre Daily, and I have none other than, full disclosure, a guy I consider a buddy and an incredible writer, Adam Wakefield.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thanks.
Well,
Pleasure to be here.
I don't know if it's a willing buddy. I made you be my friend.
No, yeah, it's like found buddies, but that's good. That's great. That's how a good buddy is. So.
That's right. And we just been cutting it up because we're excited. We got a fantastic. You're already having a great year.
Oh, thank you.
Because we have, first off, The Usher.
Yep.
If you have not bought The Usher, you need to get yourself correct. A nostalgia-laden fever dream of emotion and terror almost interwoven, and it was one of my favorite reads so far in 2025. Loved the book, and you can read the review at Macabre Daily, and I'm going to put the link right there.
Yeah, check it out.
Adam reaches out to me, and he goes, "Hey, you want to read my new? Are we calling it novella?
I don't even know if it's of novella, technical novella length. It's started just as a short story, and I kind of kept it that way, thinking I'm just going to release this later in the year for ebook, Kindle short story. And then I did do some physical arcs just to get it out there into hands like yours.
Yes. By the way, Canal Town Press, Très Magnifique. This is
Thank you.
Gorgeous cover. Who did the art?
And that's the same artist, Francois Valancourt, who did The Usher. He's a great artist out of Canada, and he's worked with. I found him through C.S. Humble's books. I reached out to him through the Massacre at Yellow Hill, and he's just been a really great consultant on it. And I try not to bring any ideas, just let him read the manuscript and come with some ideas. He knew that was going to be the choice, and he had already started working on it. But he gave me 3 things to pick from, and of course that was the one.
When you and I talked about The Usher, I know for a fact that I brought up the cover, and I was like,
probably, yeah.
Thing is gorgeous.
It jumps out. People talk about it, and in that way, I'm real thankful that for my first couple at bats, I was able to connect with Francois and get this together. And I've told him very candidly, like, I don't really plan on changing this up. So I hope appreciate it because I'm going to continue to give you projects.
Well, he's crushing it for you.
Yeah, for sure. And others.
I love the cover, and then once I got to the content, it's kind of like you wrote this story for me. I know that's very narcissistic, but you and I have a very similar outlook on life, and I think, our political leanings and what the world is experiencing right now. And man, oh man, did this short story really sink to me. So let's start before I get over my skis because I get excited, especially when I talk to you. Let's start from the beginning. I just want to know where the initial idea germinated from. How did you land on The Elephant in the Room?
Okay. Started from walking my dog.
Wait, is your dog named Dig?
No, my dog's name is Rudy.
Okay.
Dig is the name of the pup in the story. But yeah, I would walk my dog at night and kind of like the main character, Tom Evans. I was just looking at these old houses in my neighborhood, just wondering, who used to live there and sort of, like the history of our town. We're on the Erie Canal in this small town, Medina, New York, and some houses still exist in their original forms. Some houses are not there anymore. Yeah. And there's just like a lot where there used to be a school or a house or whatever. And so the mind, just begins to turn. And when it comes to the actual content of the story, there's just, when you live in a residential neighborhood, I think everybody eventually has a moment where they're like staring out of the window at a neighbor or someone that's passing by that, may not, I don't want to look down on anybody, but just maybe seems out of place in a way. Like in the story, there's a family, if it's okay to transition into some plot here.
Absolutely.
There's a family that moves into Tom's block in a big old Victorian house on the corner. And just something is off from day one. The way they look, the way they act, the color, the no color of their clothes, just sort of like a gray existence. And,
like leached of life almost.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the grass is overgrown and, just everything seems off.
Yeah.
They're crass. And, it just becomes the question of what's going on with those folks. And the tagline of the story is you should mind your own business, because Tom starts to unravel, some details about who these people are. Each of the family members have sort of an encounter with Tom's family, and it goes from there without getting into too many spoilers.
Okay, look, I'll be writing a review of The Elephant in the Room for Macabre Daily. Spoiler alert, I loved it. So one of the things I love most about the story is that you introduce the family, Tom's a good guy, family man, loves his family. The family is loving, felt very real. Sabrina likes to stay out, maybe have, she's a teenager and she's kind of feeling it. Henry is Henry is like the youngest, so they're like, okay, we got he's okay. We got a foot on him. This one's kind of like the wild stallion that we have to lasso, and it's just real family. Characters so well. It's one of my favorite aspects of The Usher is your characters are very real. They're very lived and they're very comfortable. I always equate characters in novels. It may be simplistic, but it's like putting on comfortable clothing. If a novel doesn't work for me or a story doesn't work for me, it's kind of like putting on an itchy wool sweater. It just never settles. It doesn't feel comfortable. Your characters are incredibly comfortable and you connect with them immediately. How much of Tom is in you?
Well, the dumbass part, 100%.
I felt
when you read that line, that's for sure me. No, I don't know. I guess it's funny because writing about family is pretty easy for me right now because that's what I'm doing. I'm a dad. We have 2 kids here, and we're sort of in this period, although we're kind of coming out of the shock of just being parents for the first time, and having two kids. Our youngest is still a toddler, but at a certain point, I think you get into a rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Evans family is, when we meet them, is in that rhythm. They go to soccer practice. They go to swimming. Some nights they have to eat McDonald's for dinner when they don't want to. Dad's always late for something. It's just that you just get into this rhythm of life. Time goes by and it's wonderful. And if you're lucky enough, you'll get that experience, which I thankfully very much do every single day of my life. So you write what you know. In that way, a lot of my writing style I found comes from a strange source. Yourself could have compared. I'm unapologetic Stephen King fan and all this, but Harvey Pekar from American Splendor is also sort of like one of my largest influences, because he just wrote his own life and he wrote what was around him, and some of that makes its way into my work in that same regard. I don't quite listen to people's conversations as much as Harvey did for ideas, but like there's a scene in The Usher where there's like an all county dance, if you recall that scene. And like, that's just something that there's a story my father-in-law told me, and I found a place for it as I went along. So the family stuff is truly mostly just our life here, at our house. But yeah, the Evans family's happy when we meet them. They're very happy and fat on happiness, sort of.
You do a phenomenal job of quickly setting that family dynamic, and it works, and it lands, it feels real. But then you introduce the other into it, and honestly, look, I know we're 38 pages in the story.
Yep.
I know that you get to it quickly, but it doesn't feel rushed, and each member of the family really does have their own separate encounter, and it escalates kind of like in severity or terror.
Yeah.
The hardest part of doing an interview is not giving away spoilers, because I have the biggest damn mouth and I want people to buy the elephant in the room and experience the story for themselves. So I don't want to ruin anything, but there is a scene with the two youngest of the Evans family where they have an encounter in a very windy corridor leading up to school. And what you do in the space of, it couldn't have been more than a page and a half, my heart was coming through my chest. I mean,
yeah.
But you're a damn good writer.
Thanks. Then that's the, that scene in particular. Again, just kind of going back to my own, where does my head go when I'm sitting down to write? That was relatively easy for me because I know in my life where that scene is taking place. Okay. So I can write to the school, I can write to the sidewalk, I can write to how the sidewalk feels when it's too icy and trying to run on it. And, it's just this confluence of real life and fiction that I try to inject into everything. And that one, I was proud of that one. For sure, that's a pretty menacing scene. But they got away. So,
but also you have these quick scenes like the yard sale where it's just the very first briefest encounter, but it's like a slap in the face. It's like a bucket full of cold water. And that's where I was like, Adam, you son of a bitch. Here we go.
Yeah, I like that. I'm wearing a Dawn of the Dead t-shirt for a reason, because I'm just such a huge Romero fan. And one thing that I took from this movie especially is just how fast you can get some shit going. I mean, that movie, within the first 5 seconds, somebody gets their head blown off.
Yeah.
That kind of like, no offense to Stephen King, but his work doesn't always jumpstart with that same sort of a thing. And I guess, how I form it all, just it's all individual, right? Every story is different, but that one in particular, I knew that I needed to move this along. I didn't think this was going to be a novel, so I like to keep pacing to keep it exciting, because we've all been in that space with something you're reading where you're like,
can I tell you my wish?
Yes.
I wish that The Elephant in the Room would eventually end up in an Adam Wakefield short story collection.
Oh, yeah, I see that down the road for sure. I don't really have an archive of them per se, but that would, compile in a whole collection. but at some point, maybe after the next, I keep thinking of them as full lengths and EPs in my head. After the next full length, maybe there's an opportunity to do some more shorts and put them together.
All right, can I call you out on something?
Yeah.
Pangbourne Street. Are you taking the piss? Is that a note to Stephen King, or is there a real?
Yeah. No. There's not a real Pangbourne Street. It's definitely a reference to Stephen King.
Makes me sick.
However, while we're talking about it, I am almost convinced, and God forbid I ever meet the man someday. It's just going to be a nerd city, but like I'm convinced he's been here in my town. I read things that. There's things in The Stand. He references this very, very, very specific area in a way that has me almost wholly convinced that he's been up here at some point on vacation or something. But no, that's definitely a reference to the Dead Zone and Pangbourne in general.
Oh, dude, you made me so happy. But I was like, I can't wait to talk to Adam because I'm definitely calling him out here. This is an Easter egg, and I found it, and I never did.
Yeah,
I never.
There's some of that in. I don't know if there's any of that in The Usher, but there's a little bit of that in the next one too.
Good. Okay. Oh, all right. I still want to talk about the elephant in the room, but please circle back because I want to talk about what you have on the horizon. Okay.
Sure.
The I don't want to open this up into a whole political discussion. There's just so much of that anyway these days. But I do have to ask, what does this story say about the times that we're living in? You made up a very, very good point of, sometimes we just need to stop looking through the blinds. By the way, my wife's favorite hobby, and kind of mind our own business and just live our lives. And, sometimes that can insulate us from the craziness, and then sometimes it gets exacerbated. It's, it's a delicate touch. But I agree with you, kind of just live a happy family existence. That should
right.
No
alarms, no surprises, right?
But what are you trying to, or are you trying to say anything through the short story just about the moment that we're living in right now?
Sean, it's funny you should say that because no, I really, really wasn't. And then recently I had this moment where I was like, hey, the elephant, the political statement behind the image of the elephant, I guess I kind of was, but like I wasn't thinking consciously whatsoever about it. I was really just trying to write a story about a weird family and a good family. Like you said, I wanted to try to keep it into the characterization, but like after it was all said and done, it was like a couple weeks ago, I was looking at the artwork and I was like, I'm going to have to talk to my therapist about this. Like, I think maybe I was projecting a little of the era into this for sure. Which I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with, because in the end of the day, all that suggests is that, and perfect for the exact time that we're taking this interview at, that we weren't really talking about the thing in the room that we should have been talking about this whole time.
Yeah.
While we were being distracted with everything else, there was this other thing no one was bringing up. We'll see how that pans out. But no, I wasn't consciously trying to do that. So it's just, I will admit it certainly has a sociological, political, Rod Serling, Richard Matheson type thing going for it, but not intentionally political at all.
May I say, I think, just like every piece of literature, people bring their own baggage to it and they interpret it, and they're free to interpret it however they may want to. Once you create a piece of art, which you have done, a beautiful piece of art, I might add, then you kind of give your child, you push your baby out of the nest, I think it's going to be interesting when the story is released on, if I have the date right, Adam, is it the 16th of September?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. September 16th. By the way, the review of The Elephant in the Room will drop that week, and then we'll put it all over socials. It's going to be open to interpretation. I think it's going to be interesting, the feedback that you get and the different variations on how people interpret the story. I think some are going to be very straightforward, and this is like a extremely creepy tale with escalating dread and a banger of an ending. And then other people are going to interpret it in a completely different way, but that's the fun of it,
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I don't care about interpretation. I mean, like, I'm very much a student of the David Lynch philosophy of like, I just wrote it for me.
Yeah,
you can talk about it if you feel like it. That'll be fun for you, but I'm not like, it's I don't know. happy to talk about interpretations. I'm one of those people that are in the comments, just like nerding out about what the hell Twin Peaks is about. But at the same time, I just kind of stand on it. And
I love that you said that, though.
feel free.
You are very much like Joe Lansdale in that regard, because Joe says the same exact thing. I write it for myself. I'm
Yeah.
concerned with what people think because I just
Yeah.
want to entertain myself.
That's it. And when I first decided that I wanted to do this, it was more about like a catharsis of getting something out that I needed to get out. And then once I got the story together, it was like, hey, this is an actual story. I think I'm going to finish this with the Usher, and just got it up and on its own two legs.
Cool.
On my own. And that was for me, and I still don't care if I sell any copies. Hopefully I do, I guess, so that people can read it if they like it, but it's not about that. It's just about getting it out. Same thing with this. I had an idea for a story. Same thing with the new stuff. And I write it for me. I don't really care if anybody likes it.
And look, I mean, you're punk rock, and you
exactly.
create
That's
art.
sort of where I come from.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. That's kind of how I was raised. It's just you create it and you burn it afterward, even.
Okay. Don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. So I'm reading the story, and I could not help it, Adam. I just kept circling back to the family in the burbs.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I'll tell you why. The Usher very much started out almost wholly influenced by the burbs.
We talked about it, yeah.
And yeah, that's and I certainly can understand the vibe, and in that way, I think it's kind of a good companion piece to the Usher. It's not like the next one is very different in style, but those two specifically, I feel like they kind of go together. But yeah, I mean, the burbs is in my blood at this point.
I know. We're going to talk about that film one day. I promised you. That's going to be a fall or winter sit down. We're going to rope in. You know what? Know that we want to get Nat and Clay involved. Maybe we do a Burbs. They're both going to be like.
Love that movie so much. I could talk about it. It's probably, I mean, aside from Dawn of the Dead, it's probably very close to my second favorite film.
Love it.
I would say. Yeah, that sort of like element in that neighborhood that you get in that movie, not to go off on the Burbs, but like the element of when you cross into their yard, the wind shifts, that's kind of like how I wanted this family to feel without really going down that road so much. But that there was obviously something different with them was just the name of the game from the beginning.
I loved it. I mean, I love the Burbs. I love Joe Dante. I mean, I love the man. And I just got a real kick out of it, whether it was purposeful or not. I wanted to watch the Burbs after I finished The Elephant in the Room. I was like, I need more neighbors.
That's great. Well, it's funny because the original title of The Usher was going to be The Neighbors. And I had an idea for it, and a lot of that kind of like dropped away as I started to write it. But then I write a book about the neighbors, and it's just kind of weird happenstance, I guess.
I love the title for The Usher, though. I do love The Usher, and it's spot on. All right,
wow.
Let's talk about what you have on the horizon.
Yeah. So right now I'm working on my second book. It's called Elder Lake, and it is the story of a kid named Elias, and he goes camping in pretty much the worst possible fucking week imaginable at this touristy town in the mountains.
Okay.
And he's just lost his dad the year before, and it's sort of a found family story.
Okay.
But it's a beast story as well.
Should we leave it there? I'll keep my mouth shut.
You can feel free to ask away. I don't, not holding back. I'm in the middle of it, and I've been, really, that's it right there.
Okay.
Yeah, minus the devil horns. Pretty spot on. No, it's a story that takes place in the summer of '94, and it's there's this town in the mountains, and there's a political thing that's going back decades of who owns the town and all this like rich guy shit. And there's a pedophile that gets killed in the first 30 minutes or 30 pages of the book. Again, it's pretty much the worst week for Elias to go camping possible.
Okay.
Everything kind of kicks off from there. But when I was younger, I used to, spend a lot of time in the Adirondack Mountains during the summer. So it's, familiar territory. And I'm hoping to have that out by July of next year. I'm about a third of the way through it right now. And
Okay.
I've been in a very productive period with it. So I try to get a couple thousand words at a stretch.
Dude,
going.
I love hearing that. I love that because
It's like 93 pages as of the last count on the board. So
Okay. All right.
it's fun. That's what I got coming. And I may have another short story. I don't know if it's going to land this year. It may or may not, but a story that I had been putting together called "Someone Has to Die on Christmas Eve."
Come on, man. I mean, come on.
So that's probably it's either going to come out this Christmas or next Christmas, but it'll land around the holidays.
Eagerly anticipate that. Honestly, Adam, you're one of my favorite writers.
Thanks, John. Appreciate that.
I can't get enough of your work. I know you have a family, and I know you have to devote time to them, but get writing, man.
Yeah, I'm back. John Langan was on Talking Scared, and he talked about how he took a couple of years off of The Fisherman when he was writing it because he was a family guy, had stuff going on. And I was like, oh, okay. I was in this middle of this lull of not writing for a month, and I was like, oh, all right. And then I just jumped right back into it. And it was
you just need
it's okay to just take a break. Cool. And little spark gets you moving again. And this, with any luck, I'll have the first draft of that finished by the end of the summer, so that we can do some serious marketing with it. And I don't know if we're going to try to shop it around to anybody, but at the very least, it'll come out on Canal Town, and we're excited for sure.
Shout out to Canal Town. They're wonderful people, and I think they do they do well by you, and vice versa. So I think it's a really nice relationship.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I've got on the horizon for this year in terms of the writing. Other than that, trying to appear as many times as possible is not very easy when you have the family, to
I get it.
To try to schedule things around. But as I was saying before this, I did get a chance to go down to Pittsburgh to the Living Dead weekend.
Nice.
It was great. Greg Nicotero has a copy of The Usher, so that's all I.
And then I saw a picture on Instagram, and I had so much.
He was so kind about it too, But yeah, it was a cool experience. And as for that mall, if anyone's ever going to see anything there again, who knows? But it was really cool to be back there. And hopefully next year, making it out to StokerCon. We're going to try to set up and head out that way.
Look, you'll be in the tent at StokerCon. I will be there representing Macabre Daily, interviewing you and taking a million pics until you're like, dude, this is awkward. Go talk to somebody else. So, we're gonna have a blast. Please do me a favor though. If anything is on the horizon, just use me as the smallest megaphone that you've ever met. I just want to make sure that you get all your stuff out there, and we're happy to put it on Macabre Daily social media and this site as well.
Is it okay if I talk about my favorite books of the year so far?
Hells yeah.
Okay, so Clay's book is just fantastic. I don't know if anybody's read Wake Up, or anybody hasn't read Wake Up and Open Your Eyes by Clay McLeod Chapman. That's my go-to favorite of the year so far.
Incredible.
Nat's book, When the Wolf Comes Home, the Buffalo Hunter, but these are all the big ones right now. But Gemma Files, this is one that Neil talked about in one of his episodes. In that endlessness, this book is fucking sick. Short stories,
but I've heard nothing but good stuff about it.
That's what I'm on right now. I don't know. I like talking about books, so I'm going to push an agenda.
No, I want you to push an agenda, and I want you to talk about books. That's what we're here for. I mean, I'm just looking around the room right now.
Oh, and how can I forget Dennis Mahoney's Our Winter Monster? I don't have it because I took it out from the library, but that book was absolutely fucking spectacular. It's summertime. It's hot. You should read it. It's about the winter. It's about a blizzard. It's about a monster. It is incredible.
And one of my favorite covers. as well.
Yeah, and it's a really great book that, again, with the characterization, just Dennis does a fucking hell of a job with it. So that's probably one of my go-to recommendations for right now.
All right, cool. Movies. What have you liked so far this year? And what
Sinners.
forward to?
Sinners is the best thing that's happened to horror in decades. I
Yep.
think everybody can pretty much agree on that. That's it. I don't know. I haven't seen too much that like really jumped out at me beyond that. But I also am kind of very old school when it comes to horror films, and
Okay.
I could probably count on two hands the number of like modern horror films that have really blown me away in like the last 10, 15 years. But Sinners was like, just like everybody else, we were shocked
right.
at how good it was. That's the one that sticks out, but I'm probably forgetting something else. We watch a lot of kids movies in this house. So.
Well, you had me. I was going to say you had me.
Luca.
That sounds weird coming out of a man himself in his 50s.
Yeah.
But I understand if you have a toddler,
Yes.
your TV preferences are well
They're a
split.
little different, but actually we're in a cool place where our oldest is like starting to become interested in like Ghostbusters. She's like, can we watch Ghostbusters? We watch Ghostbusters, and now it's still sort of like the scene with the librarian, sort of like this. But other than that, loves Ghostbusters. Couple things like that are starting to creep in. We watched the Back to the Future films and stuff.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, whether The Shining, Dawn of the Dead, The Exorcist,
Martyrs.
We haven't gone into those yet, but I imagine one of them will probably end up being a horror.
I don't think they're going to have much of a choice, but we'll see.
Right. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
Horror and punk rock, it's sort of in their blood.
I'd love it if your kids later on in life, they actually end up doing an award-winning and incredibly lucrative rom-com podcast.
Yeah, that would be great.
Those are the weird people, not horror.
Yeah, no, they're great though. So that's a lot of what our films are relegated to. And so my film opinion is like the Barbie movie is, and I mean this, like straight up the best goddamn movie, Sinners aside, that I think I've seen in like probably 10 years. It's so creative and it's on a lot. So
Do me a favor though. I want you to find some time off campus to just see one film, because I have a lot of expectation for it, and that's Zach Kreger's Weapons, which
that looks great. Yeah,
it comes out August 8th. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling
I feel hopeful for that one. That's where I'm at. I'm in a season of hope when it comes to the horror genre. Although I do like to see that so many adaptations are happening. Like Whale Fall has been adapted.
Ghost Eaters just got
Ghost Eaters, right? Good
Yeah.
lord. So that's great, and it's so cool to see like books you've read. That when we were growing up, it was just like King stuff, pretty much. Getting adapted, and Clive Barker's. But great to see so many people that are so well deserved. I'm sure.
There's so much good writing out there, yours
Yeah,
included,
sure
of
is.
course,
Oh,
but
thank you.
there's just a sea of phenomenal horror literature out there. We're in a great
Really is. None of it seems derivative, and there's so much representation across the genre.
That's a great thing.
For sure, like so many great queer authors out there right now having such a great moment in horror. It's just wonderful, and I feel lucky to be a part of it in whatever way that I am.
Adam, can I give you leave an opening for me to give a shout out to one of Macabre Daily's newest contributors and one of the nicest people that I've ever met, Brian Finnerty, who is a gay man and represents queer horror. He represents queer horror for Macabre Daily, but not exclusively. I mean, Brian reviews everything, but the voice that he is lending and amplifying for queer horror for Macabre Daily was totally lacking. The Jackass quote with me, off the charts. But queer horror's got a home at Macabre Daily, which
it's such a, thankfully it's just such a strong part of the genre at this point. It's just it's wonderful. There's such a mix of across the whole genre, as there should be, of this wonderful diverse group of people that are writing scary as fuck tales together.
It's so funny, for every moment of transphobia that is happening within reality, a supportive, inclusive trans horror novel seems to pop up like a mushroom.
Oh yeah.
something happens. So
Shove it down their fucking throats.
right, I love the balance, and I hope then a wave comes, and don't get me started.
Absolutely. We're on the same page there for sure.
We're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Everybody, go out and get on the 16th, The Elephant in the Room. Do me a favor, Adam. Where can people find the book on the 16th? Direct.
I mean, it's just I hate to push Amazon or anything like that. It's like the last place I want to send people to go.
I know, but it happens.
Find books, but it's a digital release, so find it on Kindle or for your Kindle. We'll try to get it on Hoopla for free.
Cool.
The download's only going to be like $2, I think. So
yep.
We'll drop all the platforms that it's going to be on in the next month or so as we get all the distribution stuff.
Perfect.
Ready to roll.
And the ushers out there already, people. So
that one, order that from your local bookstore, please.
Yeah.
You just ask them. They've got it's in the system. They'll order it for you.
Well said. All right, my man. Definitely going to have you back for some panels coming up. We are going to talk horror movies. But I also am kicking around some ideas for some horror author panels to talk about horror literature, because just like what we were talking about, we are just in like a renaissance of diverse voices, just new trajectories in how to scare the shit out of me. You fuckers are all really making my sleep so impossible, but I thank you for it.
They're making it impossible for me to read anything that isn't fucking horror. I just one after the other, they're just so good. Also, Keith Rawson's new one is really good too, by the way.
I'm looking at Fever House. It literally is on the floor.
Fever House, for fuck's sake. I can't. Well, I can go on a whole other episode about those two books. They're just chef's kiss, and I fucking hate that phrase. But the new one, Coffin Moon, is
I hate myself for it.
Coffin Moon is one of the best vampire stories I've read in a very long time, and that's the year of the Buffalo Hunter, which is just fucking incredible in and of itself.
Look at the stuff that we're getting this year. It's
amazing. I can't keep up.
I don't have enough eyes. I wish I was a spider. I
really don't have enough time.
I don't. And actually, it's kind of my job, so I need to make time. Man. All right, my friend. This was fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks for having me again.
Looking at this handsome face, get used to it. He's going to be back, and I cannot wait to talk about the next novel, but I'll be patient.
Yeah. Good. I'll be back next summer to talk that, or next spring probably.
Nice. All right. You got it.
All right, Sean.
Adam Wakefield, The Usher, The Elephant in the Room. Everybody go out, support Adam. Not only is he a super fantastic guy, but God dang it, you are a monster writer. Love your stuff.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Till we meet again, my friend.
You got it.
Take care.
Easy.
And there you have it. Adam Wakefield. Was I lying? The guy is fantastic. He's so personable. Look at that handsome face. He writes great books. You know what? Now I'm jealous. I'm not having Adam on again. He's too good. Anyway, please support Adam. He is working on a couple of things. You heard him talk about some of it. He let me in on a couple of things that are down the road. It's going to be exciting times the next couple of years for Adam. Please go to Canal Town Press. You can find the link in the article that this interview is attached to, canaltownpress.com, and you can buy The Elephant in the Room, his fantastic new novella. Notice how I'm not holding up the book. And The Usher, which is his phenomenal novel that I caught on to and reviewed last year. And you can find that review over at Macabre Daily, and I will have Adam's review of The Elephant in the Room closer to when it is released on the 16th of September. And something new for our show, we have sponsors. And we would like to mention our sponsor of this week's episode, and that is Bigfoot. Bigfoot, coming to you from the Pacific Northwest since 1942. Bigfoot, reminding you to mind your own business. There's nothing to see here.